Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Got a great topic tonight. Before we get started, by the way, this is the Godly Trading Podcast. I'm Pepper. Thank you for being here. I wanted to let everybody know, before we go any further, a bit of housekeeping. We are finally made the jump from where we were online with our bookstore to Shopify. If you have been one of those who has been complaining to it, not complaining, who's been concerned with us because the Google Pay, the Apple Pay, the PayPal haven't been working. They're working now. Matter of fact, we have a special discount code for you. Let me know if you need it, and I'll send it to you. It's 25% off. It's already saying sorry for all of that. So without any further ado, thank you all for being here. Let's jump into tonight's topic, which is this. Has anybody out there ever been frustrated with how long your trading journey towards success is taking? And I'm sure everyone out there, so everyone's impatient. Sure. Everyone wants things to happen now. Sure. Let me add one bit of a wrinkle to that. How many of you feel like God has called you to trading, or God put you and trading together? I mean, in some way, and drop that in the chat, by the way. Just say yes if you feel like trading is in a passion, an inspiration, an open door, whatever it is from God. It is interesting that for all of the ubiquitousness, which is not a word, for all of the ubiquity, for all of how commonplace it seems that we all think about investing, actual trading, like day trading, it's a little, I'm going to use another big word, a little esoteric. I know, I'm sorry. I should stop that. It's Sunday afternoon. I didn't have my nap. But trading is a bit, people said yes, but still looking to see it fulfilled. This is what we're talking about. Let me stop beating around the bush. For those of us who feel like trading was given to us by God, that God said, hey, Pepper, hey, Johnny, Squirrel, if you're here or not, say hi. Here's this thing of trading, and I want you to use this to bless your family, and I want to bless your family through this and other people and all that. So there's this extra level of, yeah, trading takes a while, and most people would agree with that, but I had this calling from God. So if it's a calling from God, shouldn't it be easier? Right? That way. That there's, I'm not going to call it extra pressure, but that this extra added element of, hey, I'm trading for my family, and I feel that somehow, some way, this is connected with my relationship with God. Does that somehow, I don't want to say make it worse, but does that somehow change it a little bit to say, hey, God called me to this. Shouldn't it be easier than it is? Shouldn't that have happened faster than it's happened? I mean, it's not like I just randomly picked, some hobby and I'm struggling at it, or I get a job and I'm struggling at it. This is something that I feel like God wants me to do. So if he wants me to do this, shouldn't he make it happen faster? And it got me to thinking about examples. And y'all, excuse me, we switched from the swing arm to the bass. I don't know, the producer over there is like, just ignore that. But every time I thump the table, I can hear his exhalation with commentary right now. I will put my hands to the side. I got to thinking about all the times in the Bible when someone was called to a purpose. And that's what I think I'm trying to get at. How many of you feel like trading, you feel like calling to the purpose of trading? How many of you out there feel like this thing that I'm doing is a purpose given to me by God? And so I started to think about who else in the Bible was called and then struggled. The first one that comes to mind, way back in Genesis, well, I guess the first one that comes to mind will be Noah. It took him 100 years. Well, okay. It was 100 years between when God said, build the ark, and when God said, get in the ark. All right, that's 100 years. Now, it could have taken him a week to build the ark, and he waited 199 years and 51 weeks. We don't know. We don't know how long it took him to build the ark, but there's a 100-year gap. So he had to wait to fulfill his purpose that God clearly called him to. Was it a struggle? He had to wait 100 years. That would be a struggle in himself. Joseph is the first one that I come to. So God gives him this calling, this vision of him being bowed down to by his brothers and his mother and father. Now, yes, we can all acknowledge he had 11 brothers. He was 17 years old when he told them about his dream. So he had lived with his brothers for 17 years. You gotta think, during the course of those 17 years, he probably knew them well enough to know they weren't going to react well to this dream. That's kind of on him, a little bit on him for telling him that. And then, of course, it's not on him that they threw him in the pit. Anyway, long story short, Joseph is called by God to a thing, 13 years. And not just 13 years of waiting, like poor Noah. This was 13 years of slavery and being in prison. David was called. Literally, not only was David called to this purpose, Samuel anoints him. Samuel's sitting there, and Jesse's getting all of his sons to walk by, and Samuel's like, no, come on, say, no, dude, no, none of these guys, no. And then, oh, here's the little one. Yes, this is him. Oil, you have a new king of Israel, and he spends the next several years running for his life from Saul before he's fulfilled. And then we get to my favorite example, and this is one. It's okay. I fully appreciate, understand if no one realizes this. Paul, the Apostle Paul, St. Paul, wrote half the New Testament, founded churches all over the known world. One of the strongest, Christians in the Bible, the best example, wrote one of the most terrifying verses of all the most terrifying verse I can ever think of, which is where he tells people, and I don't remember where it is, follow me as I follow Christ. Yeah, just follow my example. Anyway, so Paul has his meeting with Jesus on the road to Damascus. Light comes down, blinds him. I love this story. Sorry, I know, chasing a squirrel, but it's a biblical squirrel. It's okay to chase a biblical squirrel. I love this story when God tells Ananias to go put his hands on him and pray, and that's because he lost his sight. And Ananias is like, God, I don't know if you're aware of who that guy is. Let me just tell you. Anyway, Saul has the conversion event, goes to Jerusalem, meets the apostles and whatnot, and then spends 3 years in Damascus learning before he starts. It's like this one little blurb, and we skip over that. What am I trying to say? The average retail trader, and we know the statistics, 95% of all retail traders fail. And the average retail trader, and by retail trader, I mean someone who doesn't work for BlackRock, someone who doesn't get a paycheck for being a trader. Your regular person, right? The people who are watching this right now, we are average traders, average retail traders. It's about 3 years from, I wonder what trading is, to I think I'm finally there. Not sure. People do it faster, people do it slower. By and large, it takes about 3 years to get over that hump. Why is that though? Why is it that we can't be successful faster? Especially there's a ticking clock, especially realizing there's a ticking clock on this. We are here to help our families. And I say this all the time. Our goal at Godly Trading is to help fathers and mothers. And when I say the word fathers, just for everyone out there listening to me, I don't specifically mean men, right? I mean anyone on whose shoulders the responsibility for their family lies. Right? Whether you are leader of the household, exactly. And whatever family means to you, right? So it could be a father with a guy with a wife and 2 kids. It could be a young family with no kids yet. It could be, just you and the goldfish. Be Mr. Producer over there and his Call of Duty friends. It's his job to bail them out of jail when time comes. He's the responsible one. Boy, isn't that scary that you are the responsible one in that group? We don't talk about that. So our goal is to help those people fulfill the command from Proverbs that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And you're thinking about that. Hey, I'm doing this for my family. Well, there's a ticking clock because my kids are growing up faster and it seems like there's this time distortion thing going on. You jump in the TARDIS and it seems like you can never get enough time. So why can't God just snap his fingers and make me successful now so that I can bless my family now? Why do I have to wait for my kids to be off and gone and have my grandkids before I can be successful at this? Let me take the glasses off so I can read this to you. This popped up in one of those little daily devotion books to go through every day. And this hit me hard. This floored me. This is from this based on Isaiah 30, verse 18. This says, therefore, the Lord is waiting to show you mercy and is rising up to show you compassion. For the Lord is a just God. All who wait patiently for him are happy. Now, we're going further. There is a difference between waiting and waiting patiently, because we all wait, but we don't all wait patiently. We have no idea the conversations around the dinner table at the house of Noah during those 100 years. When Mrs. Noah could have very well be like, honey, I swear, if you talk about that stupid boat one more time, you're sleeping with the goats. We don't know how patiently they waited. All I know is, like the guy who was blinded and Jesus healed him. All I know is, once I was blind, now I see. All I know is, over the course of my life, confession time, I haven't always waited patiently. No commentary from the peanut gallery. In fact, back when I was unemployed, during 2018, I think it was, about a 6-month period, I was unemployed. Did not wait patiently. This one did not. No. I actually wrote about half a book, and I needed to finish this book one day. And the working title of the book is this. It's a very theologically spiritual title. The working title of the book is this: Waiting on God Sucks. I'm sorry. But it just does. All right. I'll see the comment, but my producer's waiting. Paulie says, I believe people are trained properly. Most go for a strategy before developing the discipline to trade. Yes. We do it for whatever reason. I think all of us do it in reverse order. One of the hallmarks of the course, the system we teach, the course that we improperly, well, that changes your comment 180 degrees. I believe most people are improperly trained. Our course starts from the beginning, which is, let's develop this one from the beginning. So I think ours is different and better. But waiting, why does it take so long? So Isaiah says, all who wait patiently for him are happy. I can tell you for a fact that this guy, when he doesn't wait patiently, he is not happy. I cannot tell you that when I do wait patiently, I am happy, probably because there's not enough data to pull from. I can't recall times when I've waited patiently enough to remember if I was happy or not. That's a sad state of affairs. No one likes to wait. And here's the thing about, I know, one day I'll get to this, right? It's in the book. By the way, 25% off if you have been waiting around for Google Pay and Apple Pay. I renamed one of the fruits of the Spirit long suffering from patience, or possibly from patience to long suffering. By the way, speaking of long suffering, can we all take a moment of silence for our blessed New Orleans saints? Talk about long suffering. He don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. We're moving on. But long suffering, I think, catches the encapsulates the idea of patience. Here's the thing about patience. People who wait on him, this is Isaiah 30:18, are happy. We are not born with patience. We are not even blessed with patience. I firmly believe, and I mentioned in the book, that the gospel according, no, not the gospel is specifically salvation. Theology according to Pepper is that of the 9 fruits of the Spirit, the first 3 are special and set apart. Love, joy, peace. And those can only come from God. And we can only experience them as children of God. The other 6 can be manufactured, or at least some facsimile of them. Problem is, patience. We can be given love. We can be given joy. We can be given peace. We cannot be given patience. All we can do is be put in situations where we can choose patience or not patience. Has everyone ever been to Taco Bell? Has everyone ever eaten from Taco Bell, driven away, and then needed to find a bathroom? Patience becomes, anyway. All right, moving on. I'm getting to this. God is the only one, I should probably not look away from the camera. God is the only one who knows how to prepare us for a task. And he is the only one who knows how long it will take. He is committed to taking all the time necessary to make sure we are ready for the assignment he will give. Let me read that again. God is the only one who knows how to prepare us for this task. And therefore, he is the only one who knows how long it's going to take to get us there. I read that and I was just floored. And I remember vividly when I wrote it in the book. I remember vividly when I laid it down and said, all right, God, I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of feeling this way. Please just, it's like when this one's brother, the IT department, was 2 and would like kick and scream himself to sleep. And when he's finally done kicking and screaming, then he would go to sleep. When I was finally done struggling and I was worn out from the exhaustion of trying to make trading work. We've talked about it before. In every other area of life, we can have more if we just work harder. If you are a plumber and you plumb for 12 hours as opposed to 10, you make more money. If you are a whatever and you do more of the whatever, you make more money. You can force success with hard work. In every area of life, it seems, or every area of financial endeavors, except for trading. The harder you struggle, the worse you do. Anyway, I finally got to the point that I was done. And I remember when I was unemployed, I remember every day I would get up and I would kick and scream and I would work and I would force and I would knock down doors and I was applying for jobs I was not qualified for. And bless some of the HR departments around this country for putting up with me. I remember where I was the day I was in the living room over there, and actually the house is somewhere else. I was in the living room in that green chair, and I was praying and done everything I could do. And I remember having a conversation with God. Again, one of those conversations that I wasn't going to enjoy in the end. And I said, all right, God, I'm out of ideas. I got nothing else. I don't know what to do. I can't fix this on my own. And I remember God saying, okay, before I tell you what God told me, just know, I am not saying that God is sarcastic. I am not saying that. Sarcasm is a human twisted form of humor. I recognize that. However, because I speak in sarcasm, I hear in sarcasm. It's kind of like one of my love languages. So I'm in my chair and I have kicked and screamed and fought and scratched and shotgun resumed, and I have done everything I can possibly do. And I have no more ideas left. This is the guy who's a planner who wants to come up with the idea, the junior God executive who's sitting at the boardroom table where God's at the head. He's like, Scott, here's my memo. You do this, right? That's me. And I'm sitting there and I am bereft. And I love that term. I am bereft of ideas. I'm like, God, I got nothing left. I don't know what to do. And God says, finally. Now, God did not say it that sarcastically, but he's like, I've been sitting here waiting for you to let me be God and not you. I've been sitting here waiting for you to run out of ideas. And the longer it took for you to do that, the longer it's taken for you to be successful. And now that you've run out of ideas, and now that you've turned to me, hey, by the way, here's a job that's opening up 15 miles from your house that is requiring someone with your degree. Now, guys, I'm a landscape architect, right? Does anybody know what a landscape architect is? No, because there's like 10 of us in the whole country, right? This job opened up state government 10 miles away and requires a landscape architecture degree. I was sitting there the whole time. And I could have had it the year before if I hadn't been kicking and screaming. Same thing happened with me in trading, and I think the same thing happens with all of us. We have a little success and we have a little bit of failure, and we wonder why, oh, why, oh, why? Why me, God? Why can't I be successful faster? I want to do this thing for my family. God, you gave me a family. You told me to take care of them. There's so many verses in the Bible about my responsibility. Why can't I be successful faster? And God is the only one that knows how long it's going to take. But we can't hurry God up, right? I am going to phrase this such that this will go out tomorrow morning as a short. When it comes to trading success, we cannot hurry God along, or his plan, or his timing. But we absolutely can slow him down. We can be the reason. We can be the architects of our own demise if we try to do it on our own instead of giving it to him on a daily basis. That was probably a good short for tomorrow. And I recognize that was me for so. Is anybody else like that? Does anybody else ever gotten? And maybe it wasn't trading. Maybe it was your job. Maybe it was marriage. Maybe it was kids. Maybe it was whatever big life circumstance. And you thought, God, I hear you calling me to this, but why does this seem like the faster I run toward it, the further away it gets? God, what's going on? What's with this timing thing? Why can't I get over there now? And God's like, dude, just stop kicking and screaming and let me. The greatest theological statement I've ever heard comes, of course, from the movie Rudy. You remember Rudy? Sean Astin about Yehi? Sam Gamgee from the Lord of the Rings. Anyway, Rudy goes to the priest to ask him, I forget what. And the priest says, son, I've been a priest for 50 years, and in those 50 years, I've learned two things. There is a God, and I am not him. And yet, in so many situations, don't we try to be the God of our own situation? God, I know I'm in this struggle. I know I've got this thing I've got to do. You gave it to me. I've got an idea of how to fix it. And I don't know if it's a man thing or it's a particular personality. How many times has God been like, all right, Pepper, I want you to, you're going to fix it? Oh, okay. Well, let me know how that works out for you. Oh, you fell on your face, did you? And again, God's not sarcastic. Not saying God's sarcastic, but if I were God, this is how I would be. Oh, I bet that hurt, didn't it? Okay. Do you want to hit? No. Okay. Oh, this is like prime example. I had this image. Sorry, man. Look, I'm speaking from experience, from sad, miserable experience here. Prime example. I had this image in my head of Jonah laying on the beach in a puddle of whale vomit. I know there are some of you out there who will die on the hill. It was a fish, not a whale. I don't care. For the purposes of this illustration, it's a whale. Jonah is laying there on the beach in a puddle of whale vomit. And God walks up to him, looks down and goes, well, now that we've got that out of our system, can we go to Nineveh? Maybe. Can we go to Nineveh now? All right. Oh, you still want to kick and screw? Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you do your thing. How'd that work out for you? And that, I think, is the problem for too many of us in trading. We don't want to let God be God. We don't want to trust in his timing. I heard Myron Golden once say, the struggle that you go through to get there turns you into the person that can stay there once you get there. Let me say that again. The struggle that you go through to get to your destination changes you, transforms you into the person who can stay there once you arrive there. There are no successful shortcuts. In trading, the only successful shortcut would be giving your money to someone else and have them trade and have their trade for you. And you can absolutely do that, but that's not trading. That's hiring a financial manager. People think, well, what if I just copy someone else? Let me know how that works out for you. If you want to sign up for a signal service and just let someone else tell you what to do, call me when you wake up in a puddle of whale vomit. By the way, Whale Vomit's actually expensive stuff, and it's sold to make perfumed. I don't know if anybody knew that. It has a name. Yes, anyway. Here's what I learned from from trying to take a shortcut. Oh, earn while you learn. Okay, that in and of itself is not a bad thing. It was an opportunity to give my money to somebody else who I knew secondhand and let them trade on it's called a PAM, and I forget what PAMM stands for. It's an acronym that comes from some sort of government regulation. If someone can put it in the chat what PAMM stands for when it comes to someone else managing your money, I don't remember. But anyway, I gave them my money. They were trading the US 30. I think I'd never traded that before. I was going to give them a shot, and they made like 5% a month every month until month 7 rolled around, and they lost 95% in one day. Yeah. You never know what the other person is. Oh, it's like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I forgot to do the thing over here. I forgot that news was coming out. There are no shortcuts in trading. The misery that you go through, that's putting it harshly. The perceived misery that you go through. I think on the back of the book it says from trading misery to trading mastery. So that's probably where I'm getting it from. It grows you. It improves you. There's verses in the Bible where it says God prunes us, right? He's cutting pieces away from us to make us grow in the right direction. Well, as someone who has a horticultural background, I recognize the fact that pruning is absolutely necessary. Pruning is what causes, I mean, if you have a tomato, right? I love growing tomatoes. At one point in my life, I grew the world's best tomatoes. That's a hill I'll die on. In the wintertime, which is even better. In order to make tomatoes actually produce fruiting bodies, you've got to cut off the vegetative growth and force it, right? It goes into panic mode and says, well, I better start reproducing because I'm about to die. That's what pruning does. But when you cut a tomato plant, it has to heal over. When you slice a limb off of a tree, training may be a better word. Being trained up is a biblical concept, I believe. Yes. When you cut a branch off a tree, it scabs over. Pruning is painful, but it's absolutely necessary to get us to grow in the right direction. And the end of the tale is once we get to the point where we're like, all right, God, I got nothing left. God's like, okay, fantastic. If you'd only done this a year ago, you could be a year further down the road. So I wonder, though, this is why I'm talking about this. To all of us out there who are Christian traders who feel as if God has called us to this, are we allowing that to lengthen the time because we are adding a layer of pressure that private asset management? Yes, thank you. So there's a person out there that's trading your money, and you got to trust them completely with your money. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Are we lengthening the time? Because confession time from the guy who wrote this. Remember, so it says, God is the only one who knows how to prepare us for a task, and he's the only one who knows how long it will take. He is committed to taking all the time necessary to make sure we are ready for the assignment he wants to give us. Because it'd be like, all right, God, I'm ready. No, you're not. God, I promise I'm ready. No, you're not. God, I swear, no, you're not ready. I'm just going to sit here and keep saying you're not ready until you let me get you ready, right? So if you are like me, and sadly, like me, and have a problem of taking the reins like I do, the preparation takes longer. The more we struggle, the more we try, the more we strive to force success in trading, honestly, the longer it's going to take. Trading is one of those things where you have to let go. Pray your way through every step of your process, getting to the point of, I'm ready to get going. And then once you're there, pray and to remove you from the equation as much as possible. And I think that is the only way to develop the consistency. I was talking to somebody last week. I actually was in our mastermind group last week. We were talking about overcoming the emotions. And we talked about growing weary. And do you ever get tired of trading? And one of the things that what was mentioned was sometimes you can just struggle and adrenaline junkie your way around for a while, and eventually you run out of adrenaline to have. And once you have used up all of your ability to kick and scream, that's when God can step in. And it's just so applicable. If anybody's ever had kids, you know what I'm talking about. And not that this one, he really wasn't a kicker and a screamer. Not that the IT department was a kicker and a screamer. Kind of was. Sorry, Nick. We're all like that. I think that's one of the reasons God has us as kids. So I remember exactly where I was one day. I was talking to my kids. They were on the porch. I was at the threshold of a door. I said a thing to them. I don't remember what it was. I heard God clearly over my shoulder saying, hang on, say it again. Say it again. I'm like, and in my head, I turned to God. I'm like, yes, God, I know what I just said. It applies to our relationship as well. Let me handle this with my kids first, and you and I can do this, right? I think Paulie put up a comment that the producer's not willing to put up. Nick was a perfect child.
Wrong.
So to bring this in for a landing, don't let the fact that you feel called to trading in any way add a layer of pressure on you for how long it should take. I've heard this from so many preachers, I have no idea who originated it. God does not call the equipped. God equips the called. If you feel like you're in over your head in trading, but you know for a fact God called you to it, fantastic. You are where everyone else was. Paul felt, not this Paul, the Apostle Paul, felt ill-equipped for the task that he knew he'd been called for. I'm sure Noah, at some point, felt ill-equipped for the task that he had been given. Probably starting with, okay, God, I'll build a boat. What's a boat? Probably started there. I'm sure we all, Nehemiah was given, I love the book of Nehemiah. It's the basis for our next book, Trading with Purpose. Nehemiah had this, hey, let's go build the wall. And then he goes and he spends, a night surveying the place. He's like, really? This Paul feels ill-equipped. God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the call. So next time you feel like this journey towards trading success is taking too long, question number one is find out if you're the reason it's taking longer than it should. And then just let go of your expectation of how long it should take. Everybody is different. God calls everyone for a different purpose and a different speed. And all we can do is trust in his timing. Isaiah 30:18 says, all who wait patiently for him are happy. Are you happy in your trading? Where you are in your trading success journey? And if so, are you waiting patiently on God? And I'm going to leave it there. Guys, thank you all for being here. And I'll see you next time.